Mm. So, generate a motivation in a way which is most effective for you. Spend a few moments on that. And get a glimpse, get a taste of the sadness that they speak about, the weariness, the sadness of samsara. And how desperately beings need help. And then think how wonderful it would be. We look at the immeasurable compassion, Karuna Brahma Vihar. How wonderful it would be if all these beings were free of suffering, and the causes of suffering. May that happen. And then realizing, how fortunate we are and all of the reservoir of resources, inner and outer, that are there at our disposal. We make the courageous, at least aspiration, that I myself will help them be free of suffering and its causes. I myself will do something. I'll enable them to be free of suffering and its causes. Whatever I can do, try to do. And then remembering our very kind teachers and who've shown us through their lives, their example, how much can be done for others. We request, we say, please bestow your inspiring strength to enable us to do this. Make it personal, enable me to do this. Bestow your inspiring strength to enable me to do this. Do what? Enable others to be free of suffering and its causes. So for that to happen, we need wisdom. To develop wisdom, we need a concentrated mind based on some basic ethical conduct. So therefore, let's spend some time stabilizing the mind as much as we can with the breath awareness practice, not taking seriously thoughts, images, memories, wishes, anxieties, whatever, that arise, just noticing them and gently letting them go. Not latching onto them, letting them go in a relaxed manner, coming back to the breath. Again and again, coming back to the breath. So let's sit quietly together for a while, 7 or 8 minutes. So the co-founder of this center, so many centers worldwide, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, passed away on the 13th of April. And those of us who knew him, or those of you who have read some of his teachings, know how much emphasis Rinpoche placed on Bodhicitta, the compassionate heart, compassionate mind, aspiring to highest enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings, and the incredible intensity and depth of some of those teachings, something very memorable. People who receive teachings like that from Rinpoche live, it's something one doesn't forget. So we were advised by the great practitioner, lady practitioner, Kadrola. Students were advised after Rinpoche's passing to put some effort into studying and practicing, realizing Bodhicitta, this sublime mind. So we're looking at Shantideva's great text, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, which is one of the gems of the Mahayana tradition, a text which His Holiness considers as great importance, seminal importance in his own development of the, or understanding of Bodhicitta. So we looked at chapter 1 a little bit. We're just taking a few verses and reflecting on them a little bit. The text can be looked at very exhaustively, but that takes a long, long time. So we're just looking at a few verses and hoping that it gives us an inkling of the causes and the nature of this great mind, Bodhicitta, and the consequences of generating it. And this is a kind of, this is what pleases the Guru, right? This is what pleases the Guru, and this is what really helps the living beings for us to generate this, even aspire to generate this state of mind, because this will help us actually generate it one day, and that will be of inestimable value for living beings, as well as, by the way, helping us to have an incredibly powerful mind which is never overcome with despair or depression or laziness. So we're looking at today, we'll take a little look, or begin to look at chapter 2 of this great text, where Shantideva confesses wrongdoing, and with an especially powerful reflection on death. However, in order to generate bodhicitta, one has to generate a lot of positive energy as well as purify. So the chapter starts with prostrating and then offering basically. Offering the, as he says, to the sacred dharma, to the Buddhas, to the disciples, offering what? Flowers, fruits, whatever kinds of medicine there are, whatever jewels exist in the world, whatever clean, refreshing waters, gem-encrusted mountains, forest groves, quiet, joyful places, heavenly trees bedecked with flowers, trees with fruit-laden branches. We can imagine all this. Fragrances, very divine kind of fragrances, he mentions in verse 4. Incense, wish-fulfilling trees, jewel trees, harvests that don't need cultivation, ornaments that are worthy of being offered, lakes and pools adorned with lotuses, the beautiful cry of wild geese, everything which is not owned by anybody, that exists within limitless space. So even beyond this planet, perhaps, beautiful, wild, unowned places, not yet claimed by a person or a government or a corporation or whatever. So creating these things in my mind, I offer them. This is so important, isn't it? We don't always have to be buying things, material things, and giving them. Just we have a sincere wish to offer and do so mentally, that is extremely powerful in itself. So we offer them mentally to the Buddhas, the supreme beings, as well as to their children, meaning the Bodhisattvas. O compassionate ones, think kindly of me, accept these offerings of mine. So of course, we're not offering because the Buddhas need these things. We have to remember that. We need to offer, to open our minds, open our hearts, and create positive energy. Having no merit, I'm destitute and have no other gifts to offer. O protectors, you who think of helping others, by your power, accept these for my sake. So due to the power of the object, the extraordinary, powers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which can't be really expressed in ordinary language, by offering to them, there is tremendous, tremendous merit or positive energy created, which is hard for us to understand. So in this way, we request them to accept, which of course they do, so that we benefit. Then Shantideva says he's going to offer all his bodies, past, present, future bodies, to the Buddhas. And by really coming under the care of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, in a proper way, then one becomes free of all fear of conditioned existence and will be able to perfectly go beyond one's mistakes and be able not to commit them anymore. This seems to be the import of verse 9. Then Shantideva also offers, and this is very, very intricately described in some of the pujas, the texts, it becomes a whole mental, meditation and creative use of the imagination, which helps to generate a very spacious and, one might say, pure state of mind. So that even though one may be living in a, potentially one could be living in a shack, a stinking shack next to the stinking Jamna River in Delhi. But if one's mind was engaged in this way, one would be creating waves of merit. To very sweetly scented bathing chambers with brilliantly sparkling crystal floors and exquisite pillars ablaze with gems, with canopies above aglow with pearls, I beseech the Buddhas and their children to come and bathe their bodies from many jeweled vases, filled with waters, scented and enticing, to the accompaniment of music and song. So this is very interesting, very good to read slowly when one has time and get some kind of understanding of what is happening. If you go to Bodh Gaya, then you see people, very important for pilgrims, some pilgrims, they offer fresh, brand new robes to the holy image there in the main temple. They buy it, and the monk in the chamber, he arranges those robes on the Buddha and may quickly take them off again because somebody else wants to offer their set of robes, fresh robes. So, but this is creating potentially tremendous positive energy to offer fragrant garments of suitable colors, as it mentions in verse 12. Raiments fine and smooth. And of course, one offers in Bodh Gaya to the holy image of Shakyamuni Buddha there, but one can offer to any Buddha and to the Bodhisattvas here. Arya Samantabhadra, Manju Ghosh, it's Manjushri, Avalokiteshvar. So Shantideva really goes to town with these offerings. And it's very good too, because he has some very down-to-earth things to say after verse 27. Things get a little bit rough, one might say. He also, before that, he offers music, he offers a rain of flowers, precious gems, all sorts of harmonious praise, gentle eulogy. And he offers it not just in an ordinary way, but with bodies as numerous as atoms, all the atoms within the universe. He prostrates with numberless bodies to all the Buddhas, to the reliquaries, stupas, to abbots, masters, practitioners. He seeks refuge. Then he says, with folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who possess the great compassion, reside in all directions. So they're not just on our altar, you see, in the statues. The Buddha mind pervades all of space. He beseeches these beings who pervade all of space throughout beginningless cyclic existence in this life and other lives. Unknowingly, I've committed transgressions, mistakes, ordered them to be done by others. I've been overwhelmed by the deception of ignorance, and I've often rejoiced in what was done, these negative actions that were done. But now, seeing these mistakes, from my heart, I confess them to the Buddha. Whatever harmful acts of body, speech, and mind I've done in a disturbed mental state towards the three jewels of refuge, towards my parents, towards spiritual masters, towards others, all the grave wrongs done by me, so thoroughly vile and polluted, with an abundance of faults. So I openly declare these to the guides of the world, to the Buddhas. So let's spend some time remembering, and again, this is not in order to depress ourselves, but it's just in order to remember, you know, we've done and said and taught so many things that are really stupid, often harmful, often cruel, motivated by ignorance, by jealousy, by envy, by miserliness, anger, spite, by resentment, by tremendous lust, grasping, you know, by the wish to divide other people who are friends. We have done so many things, you know, and if one were to remember them, even one or two, one would feel regret. But that's good. We're supposed to feel regret. We're not supposed to sail through life thinking we haven't done anything wrong. Oh, no, it's okay. It'll, you know, time will heal it. Well, no, not according to the teachings. The longer we leave things unconfessed, the more they fester and the negative consequence grows. So we need to purify. We leave something you know, something smelly in a fridge, even if the fridge is working, we leave, say, onions there in a container which doesn't have a lid, even a small piece of onion, after a while, the whole fridge stinks of onions. A similar kind of idea. If we leave things pollution in our mind, it grows. And the result appears to be out of sort of any kind of out of proportion to the cause. But that's how karma works. So we need to remember that, Shantideva is saying. Then it says, it's all very well to want to purify, but if we don't do it in time, we may die before we've had time to purify our mistakes. It's like people die and they have so many regrets, yeah? They haven't said sorry to people they should, or they haven't expressed themselves properly to people, they haven't apologized for things, etc., etc. And people can die with a lot of regret, with a lot on their minds, if you like, burdening them. And that creates a lot of mental imbalance and negativity. Harm can arise then at the time of death, which affects the rebirth. The untrustworthy Lord of Death doesn't wait for things to be done or undone. Whether I'm sick or healthy, the fleeting lifespan is unstable. We may think we're very healthy, fit, young, or whatever, but we can die anytime. So many causes for death, aren't there? So Shantideva is reminding us that leaving everything, I must depart alone. Not having understood this, I committed so many various kinds of wrongdoing in connection with friends and enemies. Grasping, creating all kinds of mischief with so-called friends, and so much anger and aversion and wrongdoing with so-called enemies. I say so-called because they're not inherently or solidly or permanently that. Nothing stays the same forever. Then some very powerful lines which some of you may remember from the amazing movie Kundun on Dalai Lama's life from childhood until his arrival in India. Hollywood movie, but very good, made by Scorsese, who's usually renowned for more violent movies, with music by Philip Glass. And a movie maybe hard to get hold of now because the Chinese are very much against it, of course, and have made it more difficult to be, I think, distributed. Whatever, these words from this translation are used in that movie to great effect. My foes will become nothing. My friends will become nothing. I too will become nothing. Likewise, all will become nothing. Just like a dream experience, whatever things I enjoy will become a memory. Whatever has passed will not be seen again. And even within this brief life, many friends and foes have passed. But whatever unbearable wrongdoing I committed in connection with them remains ahead of me. Remaining neither day nor night, life is always slipping by and never getting any longer. So why wouldn't death come to someone like me? And when I am lying in bed, although surrounded by friends and relatives, the feeling of life being cut off will be experienced by me alone. We should reflect on this, maybe using your experience of seeing or watching other people die, or friends or loved ones having died. Maybe we saw somebody die somewhere, somehow, not just in the movies. So Rinpoche's advice used to be, and it's there in the tradition, of course, also, that if we hear of someone who's dying or just died, or whoever they are, we should think, well, that's me. That's going to be me one day. Maybe today. Can't tell. One day we're okay, then we decide to have a checkup. Doctor says, you have some terminal disease, you have cancer or this or that, and then who knows how long we last. Or it could be food poisoning, it could be anything. So many things. We're very angry people, repress a lot of anger and rage. Then be a heart attack, sudden heart attack, and we're gone within minutes. So then, are we ready for this? When seized by the messengers of death, what benefit will friends and relatives be then? My merit alone shall protect me at that point, but upon that I've never properly relied. We haven't generated enough positive energy to be sure that we can have a happy death, he seems to be saying. Unaware of the terror of death, I accumulated a great deal of negative actions just for the sake of this transient life, just for the sake of some happiness or whatever, or to get back at enemies. One did so many things in this life, just in this life, just for this life, not thinking of the future at all. Petrified is the person, he says, today being led to a torture chamber, dry mouth, dreadful, sunken eyes. Entire appearance is transfigured. What need to mention the tremendous despair when stricken with the disease of great panic, being clasped, as it were, by the physical forms of the frightful messengers of death. So people have many kinds of experiences while they're dying. Some fortunate people have more peaceful, others, and we can't always see, what other people are experiencing in their minds. They have very terrifying experiences before dying. And then after death, of course, if we're not a yogi, then we are just wafted here and there by the force of karmic action, karmic winds, to our place of next rebirth. We don't have any control whatsoever, most people. Just as most of us have no control whatsoever once we're asleep over our dreams. And we don't have any control over our place of rebirth. So Shantideva seems to be telling us to jolly well wake up and purify our minds. So therefore, we seek refuge in the Buddhas who protect the world, who strive to shelter all that lives, and who with great strength eradicate all fear. I purely seek refuge also in the Dharma. Trembling with fear, I offer myself to Samantabhadra, other Bodhisattva, to Kshitigarbha, Akashgarbha, Vajrapani, Avalokiteshvara. And then something which we could relate to very much, verse 54, if I need to comply with the doctor's advice when I'm frightened by a common illness, then how much more so when perpetually diseased by the manifold agitations of desire and so forth. See, he says just one of these disturbing states of mind can overcome us, you see. And no other medicine in the universe can be found except the Dharma. Then the intention not to act in accordance with the advice of the Buddhas, the all-knowing physicians, that can uproot every misery, not to have that intention is extremely bewildered, worthy of scorn. And we just don't realize. You know? It's inappropriate just to enjoy oneself, thinking, today alone I shall not die. For inevitably the time will come when I shall become nothing. Nothing here, not meaning nothing, but nothing that I can relate to anymore as being of this life. This life will become nothing. Then he asks, who can grant me fearlessness? How can I be surely free from this? If I shall inevitably become nothing, then how can I relax and just totally, how can I relax and enjoy myself? What remains with me now from the terminated experiences of the past? Yet, through my great attachment to them, I've been going against my spiritual master's advice. And having departed from this life and from all my friends and relatives, if I have to go elsewhere all alone, then what's the use of making friends and enemies? I should only consider this, he says. How can I be surely freed from unwholesomeness, the source of misery? He's saying day and night one should be thinking like this. And then he confesses it all. In the presence of the protectors, with folded hands, prostrating myself again and again, my mind terrified by the misery to come. In fact, in this tradition, people do engage in purification, making hundreds of thousands of prostrations, tens of thousands, up to 100,000, and some people do that again and again, up to whatever, even 1 million prostrations some people engage in. With, of course, the right mental attitude, it's very purifying. If it's just done as physical exercise, then not so. Then in the last verse of the second chapter, he says, I beseech all the guides of the world Please accept my transgressions and wrongs, since they're not good. In the future, I shall do them no more. Rinpoche gives the advice that don't say that if you cannot actually promise that, because that would be lying to the Buddhas. So just do what you can. If you're a compulsive kleptomaniac, then at least promise not to steal for a day or 2 days and keep that vow. But don't say, I'll never steal again, and then do it. That wouldn't be good. So gradually one can build up to saying, I'll never deliberately steal again. So, very powerful chapter, starting in a very beautiful lyrical way with the offerings and so forth, but then brilliantly changing gear, if you like, and talking about what we're going to have to go through and the necessity to purify the mind so that we don't have to experience the results of negative karma, and so that we can avoid a miserable death, miserable intermediate state, and miserable rebirth. So this is where some people think this is too much, and they would prefer a more watered down, sanitized version of so-called Buddhism, which better suits our previous conditioning and need for comfort. But that would be doing injustice to the tradition and to the teachings of Lord Buddha, and would not create the requisite sense of fear and renunciation that may well be necessary initially to goad us into some kind of meaningful energy, practice. Otherwise, it's just, take her, no problem. Just do what we can. But we're going to take, Shantideva seems to be saying, if we're going to take Bodhicitta seriously, generating that sublime mind, then we have to engage in some very deep cleansing. So like, I guess, Tushita Center had a COVID patient here. So if there's that kind of illness or sickness around, then you need to fumigate, you need to clean, then one can go ahead with confidence. So much more so with the mind, we need to do that. Because COVID can just kill us in one life, but the delusions can destroy us life after life after life, and have been doing so since beginningless time. So tomorrow's chapter will be more encouraging, chapter 3, but that's chapter 2 for now. Shantideva in brief. So now we could do a short, very short, truncated sort of medicine Buddha to create some positive energy. The medicine Buddhas, the healing Buddhas, were great bodhisattvas who, while they were practicing as great bodhisattvas, made prayers that their practice become highly beneficial and powerful in the future age of degeneration, which they could foresee, and that when they became Buddhas, their practice become most beneficial for beings at this degenerate time of warfare, disease, and environmental degeneration and so forth, famine, disease, conflict, all that. So at this time, and when people's minds are also more and more degenerate and more dangers, of having to engage in wrong kind of living to promote us to keep alive and so forth. All of the various difficulties nowadays. These the seven main medicine Buddhas made prayers that their practice gives specific benefits to people, remembering their names, reciting the mantras, and so forth. We're not going to do any kind of elaborate practice. We'll simply motivate again strongly and then recite the short mantra of the medicine Buddha 21 times out loud, and then silently recite for some time, visualizing light and nectar coming from the heart of medicine Buddha, reaching all sentient beings, people we know who are sick or ill or having problems. And of course, in the background, the wish that through creating this positive energy, we are also creating cause for our kind teachers, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, to return again as a young being, as a young person, as a young child, in order to then carry on this work of guiding us thick-skulled, degenerate, often very wayward students, so that we may, so that people may create the causes for enlightenment. In fact, we Vivekji, what text have long life swift return prayer ka text hai on the shelf here, just to your right, it should be there. The one, you have that one, swift return prayer. Well, swift return, it's got a picture of Rinpoche on the front and Kadrola. One copy each, please. Thanks. So I think we also sent it to people online. In fact, that may be the more up-to-date version. This was the first translation, but very raw and powerful. And this was a prayer that Kadrola wrote on the plane between India and Nepal when she went there to begin to oversee the process of prayers and embalming of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's body after his passing and his after his post-death meditation ended. So anyway, with the medicine Buddha, we visualize beautiful lapis lazuli colored medicine Buddha in space before us or on the crown of our head, whatever's comfortable, in the nature of light, right hand by his right knee, holding the stem of the Arura plant, a very beautiful medicinal plant. Left hand holding a bowl full of nectar in his lap, a cross-legged posture. The robes of a monk. Very peacefully and compassionately gazing at us and all sentient beings. So we are surrounded by all sentient beings, mother, father, friends, relations, whether living or dead. Visualize them, and mass of beings around us in a state of being destitute of dharma, destitute of guide, bereft of refuge, guide. All of whom have been kind to us, according to the teachings. They have all been kind to us, are continuing to be kind to us, and will be kind to us in the future. All of them are suffering. So we are beseeching, aspiring, beseeching Medicine Buddha to grant blessings, purification of our negativities, and to imbue us with positive qualities so that we can be of some benefit and stop hindering our own and others' spiritual progress. So with the great wish to help, to liberate beings, to create causes of happiness for them, to help them eliminate their suffering, and with the wish that our teacher also manifest quickly again in order to guide us, let's recite the mantra. The people here have the text. You can find the mantra if you don't know it on page page 9. A short mantra there with the Tibetanized pronunciation, the way it's handed down in our lineage, top of page 9. So we recite it 21 times out loud, tune that we have, and then intone it silently for a while, rapidly, and do silently, imagine, then visualize the light and nectar emanating throughout the universe. Us beings, we visualize and throughout the universe, benefiting all the beings, transforming them all into bodies of light. Bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taetavum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, bekanze, randa sami gate soha. Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha Taita Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Ramdat Sami Gate Soha. Imagine that all the beings have been transformed into Buddhas, all totally purified, oneself, parents, friends, relations, all beings. The light, beautiful light body of Medicine Buddha dissolves into our forehead, and feel a sense of tremendous ease, wisdom, compassion, spacious warmth, the mind united with all the Buddhas throughout space. And then we can dedicate that, really in order to repay the kindness of all the sentient beings, kind mother sentient beings, as well as the most kind gurus, late departed Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. The best way to repay their kindness is to generate Bodhicitta, realization of emptiness, and benefit the sentient beings by becoming fully awakened ourselves. So we dedicate that by this short practice of Medicine Buddha, as well as reflecting sincerely on chapter 2 of Shantideva's text, albeit so briefly, that due to that positive energy, we will be able to, we're making an attempt to fulfill the wishes of the Guru. But may that wish extend beyond the meditation cushion and connections with others, our work, and so forth. Remember the kindness of everybody we meet. As Rinpoche says, a very powerful statement, he says, think that the person in front of you is fulfilling all your wishes. Meaning, through connection with this person, whoever it is in front of you, at that moment, through them, we are able to attain enlightenment. Through properly relating with that being, whoever they are. Whether they're harming us or hindering us, whatever they're doing, through that person, we depend on that person for our enlightenment. Maybe perhaps especially if they are not being so nice to us, then we very quickly develop some much needed courage or patience or whatever. So may we fulfill the Guru's wishes in that way. So I'm not sure if there's any need for much discussion before we recite the quick return prayer, but since there are 10 participants online and 10 people at Tushita here in Delhi, might be good to have some brief communication some way. Is there at least one Dharma friend here from 1992, maybe. Steph, is that when you came to Bodhicitta? Something like that.
Yeah, it was the winter season of 92, 93. Yeah. 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 30 years ago, Kabir.
Very nice. As Bob Dylan says, I'm so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Something like that, Dylan says. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. So
yeah.
Younger then. I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Anyway.
Yeah, you think you know it all, and as you get older, you know less and less and less. Yeah.
I guess. Trouble is, I forget so many things, so then one has to keep on relearning things. But yeah. Anyway, any comments from any of our esteemed onliners, offliners? Back row at Tushita, we have a back row. We have back benches. We have dyed-in-the-wool back benches. Luckily, they don't heckle much. Are you at Jamyang, Steph? Where do you stay?
No, I'm not in London anymore, Kabir. I moved out about 6 years ago to go with Dad, and I've ended up in Suffolk near to Mom now.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah, but I still can get to Jamyang quite easily.
Good, good. I see. Things change, huh?
Yes, yeah. Lots of change. And you're in Delhi, yeah?
Yes, my birthplace, yes.
Yes, that's what I thought, yeah. Still in horse cars, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Planning to die here, but you never know. Maybe
if only we could. Sorry?
Kushinagar would be a good place to die, where the Buddha died. That would be a place.
Bit cooler as well, maybe?
No, same temperature as here. Kushinagar gets very
okay.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Any comments on chapter 2? Is it too horrific? Is it rightly? Is it useful? Do you think Shantideva is going a bit too far there? Doing us an injustice by scaring us? Anilji, was that too much, what Shantideva was saying? Scaring us regarding death so that we become good card-carrying Buddhists or something? What do you think?
Scaring us or preparing?
Huh?
Scaring us or preparing us?
Or preparing us, yes. Anyways, food for thought. Friends will become nothing, enemies will become nothing, I'll become nothing. Goodness me. Yes. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, yeah? Anyway, mind is beginningless according to Lord Buddha, and we have the Buddha nature. So there's, in one sense, we'll all become enlightened one day, but that may be a while ahead, which only the Buddhas can see ahead that far. But yeah, we all have the potential to wake up, so we should be happy. Not lose hope. And not be too guilty when we enjoy Belgian chocolate chip ice cream. We wouldn't be too unhappy. We have samsaric enjoyments, but we can even enjoy them and dedicate the enjoyment to one day having the bliss of the Buddhas. Okay, let's recite the, sorry, we didn't, it is actually there online if you, people who have their smartphones, in the Swift Return prayer package that was sent out, I'm sure, probably over a week ago. Anyway, we have a text here. Those of you who don't have it, doesn't matter, just listen carefully. It's very beautiful, really a cry from the heart from this very, very amazing yogini, lady practitioner, Kadrola, who's very close to Rinpoche and other lamas and to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and who is an amazing person, really pretty much inseparable from the Buddhas, from Tara and so forth. So she wrote this prayer on the, what is it, 1.25 hour flight between Delhi and Kathmandu. Lama, you know, Lama, you know, I beg you to listen to me, gentle root Lama. I appeal to you with a sudden desperate request. Don't deprive us of your compassionate refuge. Lama, you are the blessings of the Buddhas of the 3 times. Even though you are now in the great pervasive bliss of the unobstructed sphere of clear light, it is now that we need your great compassion. Quickly emanate the supreme body of the transcendental wisdom emanation from the various emanations of the dance of the great compassion of the Supreme Mind. Arise, rise and return from the sphere of the Dharmakaya. I invoke you. I invoke you. I invoke you for the sake of beings. Do not remain in the pure land of Dakinis and other pure lands, but please return at once to make the scriptural and realization teachings flourish for the sentient beings of the world to the south. This refers to this planet and so forth, Jambudvip. Come back right away because the desperate beings are kind and are desperately calling you. They want to see you. They want to be blessed in body, speech, and mind. We are the sentient beings, hallucinated and confused by the conception of ignorance. In the sphere of the luminous emptiness of the 3 supreme bodies, we confess the samayas that we have degenerated. Let there be the auspiciousness of emptiness and compassion, the supreme auspiciousness of all auspiciousness. Let there be the auspiciousness of the quick meeting of the disciple and the Lama. By the power of the truth of unchanging reality, may the perfect reincarnation quickly appear. I, the Dakini, with pure faith, in sorrow, and weeping in despair, due to the blessings of the 3 roots, may the wishes of this beggar be fulfilled. Object, subject, and action in the sphere of the reality of luminosity and bliss. Ah. We dedicate that we're always cared for in this and future lives by kind gurus, Mahayana gurus, never be separated from the authentic teachings. May His Holiness the Dalai Lama and other great lamas have long and healthy lives. May all their holy wishes be fulfilled. Until such time as we develop the sublime mind of Bodhicitta and enlightenment, may our presence, wherever we are, be most beneficial and meaningful for whoever meets us in whatever way, whether as a friend or an enemy or stranger. May it be beneficial for that person. Or that animal, whoever. Good. Thank you so much, everybody online. Thank you, Steph, from joining from the UK. Thank you, all of our regulars, Neil and Yash, TK, Navinji, Sujitji, Pragati, Neeraj, everybody, Redmi Note 10 Pro. Thank you all very, very much. Take
Thank you,
care.
Kabir.
Thank you, everyone here. Tushita, I think there are some refreshments at the back. Biscuits, hot water.